Pause for a moment and imagine this. You open the door after a long day, so long and so heavy that even you don't fully understand why you feel this drained. There's a quiet, nameless anxiety sitting in your chest. You don't know what you're about to walk into. An argument? A tense atmosphere? Or worst of all, a long, suffocating silence? Have you ever had a moment like that? And have you ever looked at those couples on Instagram, holding hands, matching coffees, always smiling, and wondered, why isn't my marriage like that? If you have, you're not alone and you're not wrong. But here's what no one tells you directly. Those perfect images aren't marriage, they're PR. Real marriage happens behind closed doors, not on social media. I'm a psychologist who has spent more than a decade working with adults ages 25 to 40 in the United States. I've heard hundreds of stories about love, marriage, divorce, reconciliation, and the emotional struggles no one else ever sees. I've sat with people who look strong on the outside, but when it comes to marriage, they're the most vulnerable. And today, I want to tell you a truth very few people ever get to see. A truly healthy marriage looks nothing like what you see online. No glamour, no filters, no performance. And once you understand the real face of a lasting marriage, you'll stop comparing yourself to photos that have been edited 20 times over. You'll see marriage with different eyes, clearer, deeper, and more mature. A truly successful marriage looks nothing like what you see online. The reality behind social media. On Instagram or TikTok, you see couples hugging on the beach, holding hands in Paris, or gifting each other expensive presents. But you don't see what's behind those polished snapshots. You don't see the sleepless nights when their child is sick. You don't see the arguments that go on until 2 a.m. because they're trying to find common ground. You don't see the moments when both have to set aside their ego, just to protect something bigger than themselves. What actually keeps a marriage strong is small, quiet, repeated daily. And because those moments are too ordinary, too boring, too unpostable, nobody shares them online. So, what are the real foundations of a happy, successful marriage? Let's walk through these stories, and stay with me until the end, because the deeper we go, the more brutally honest and surprisingly helpful these truths become. They might help you and your partner build a home that's warm, grounded, and free of drama. Foundation 1. Stability matters more than intense emotions. Think about a couple you know who seem boring. No drama, no showy romance, no explosive fights. Yet they're the strongest. At 3 a.m., when the baby cries, they move like a team that has trained for years. One picks up the child, the other makes the bottle. No complaints, no blaming. Just natural coordination between two people who understand. This is our shared responsibility. According to John Gottman's research, emotional stability is one of the strongest predictors of long-lasting marriages. When the brain feels safe, it doesn't go into defense mode. It doesn't magnify problems. It doesn't trigger endless fights. Are you trading emotional stability for intense emotions? Jealousy, anger, explosions, simply because they feel stronger? Have you noticed that peace is what keeps love alive? Foundation 2. Conflict communication is a skill. One client once told me, "Every time we argue, he brings up something I did in 2018 like it's proof I'm always wrong." She burst into tears. I taught them a simpler, healthier way to communicate. Talk about the behavior, not the person. A sentence every couple should use when something goes wrong. "When you did that, I felt this way." That's it. No, you always. No, you never. When language isn't accusatory, people stop defending themselves. And when they're not defensive, they can finally listen. Are you communicating in a way that opens your partner up? Or are you unintentionally turning every conversation into a battlefield? Fig 3. Keeping your own identity. Many relationships fall apart not because love ends, but because one or both people lose themselves. I've seen people abandon hobbies, friends, and even personal goals because they think that's what love is. But love is not merging into one. Love is standing side by side as two whole individuals. Happy couples maintain personal space, personal time, personal sources of joy. And that's what keeps them attractive to each other. Are you abandoning yourself to keep the peace? What did you love doing that you've stopped since you started the relationship? Foundation 4. Your partner cannot be everything. A dangerous belief is thinking your partner must be best friend, soulmate, therapist, emotional anchor, financial support, motivator. No one can survive that pressure. When they fall short, you feel disappointed, they feel overwhelmed, and both eventually burn out. Healthy support comes from multiple places: friends, family, colleagues, professionals. Ask yourself, do you have a support network? Or are you placing the weight of your entire world on one person? Foundation 5. Small habits build great relationships. I once worked with a couple who had been together over 10 years. After they had kids, their time together vanished. But they kept one habit. Every Friday night, they took a 20-minute walk together. Not because it was romantic, but because if they didn't, they would slowly lose each other. Happiness doesn't come from big moments. It comes from small habits, repeated consistently. Is there one small habit you could start tonight? Foundation 6. Shared vision matters more than feelings. There was a couple deeply in love, so in love that everyone assumed they'd get married. But one wanted to live on the East Coast, the other wanted to stay close to family on the West Coast. They tried to compromise but eventually realized love isn't enough. A family needs a shared direction. Have you two ever talked about the big things? Kids, money, career goals, lifestyle? If not, now is the time. Foundation 7. The healing power of pause. Stop for a moment. Take a breath. This isn't a checklist to complete overnight. No one changes instantly, but small steps, repeated daily, are how relationships survive. A 34-year-old client once believed her husband didn't love her anymore, but underneath the story, I saw they were simply disconnected. We started a nightly 3-minute check-in. 6 months later, she said, "We're beginning to see each other again." Another newlywed couple thought marriage would fix their insecurities. When work stress hit, they blamed each other. Once they reestablished boundaries and personal time, their bond grew stronger. A healthy marriage isn't fireworks, bright then gone. It's a small flame someone guards quietly over the years. Some days wind blows hard. Some days rain pours endlessly. Some days the flame looks like it's dying. But as long as one person shields it, adds a small piece of wood, the flame rises again. Picture this: a rainy afternoon, two people sitting together under an old porch roof. No words, no problem solving, nothing glamorous, just two humans choosing to stay. Those quiet moments, that's what keeps marriages standing. I once told a patient, a relationship isn't measured by your best days, but by how you treat each other on your worst. If your relationship doesn't look as shiny as others, remember, successful marriages don't need to shine. They need presence, effort, kindness, and repeated choosing every day. So let me ask you something important. In the quietest moments of your relationship, what tells you that love is still there? Because answering that question leads us to a deeper truth about marriage, where love isn't measured by the bright moments, but by how two people face hardship together. 1. Where love is tested. There's something I always tell my patients. Love isn't tested in beautiful moments. It's tested in the moments that are least convenient to love. I once saw a wife caring for her husband after an accident. He had always been strong, confident, decisive. But after the accident, he couldn't do the simplest things. He became sensitive, irritable, withdrawn. And she said something I will never forget. "I don't love what you do. I love you." That's what lasting love looks like. Not always beautiful, but always real. 2. The small cracks no one sees. If you've ever seen a glass cup with a tiny crack, you know this. It doesn't break immediately. But if ignored, even a small tap will shatter it. Marriage is the same. The small cracks are unspoken apologies, unexpressed gratitude, hurtful comments dismissed as not a big deal, feeling overlooked but saying nothing. Most couples don't break up over one big event, but over thousands of tiny cracks left unattended. Are you noticing small cracks in your relationship? If so, how long will you let them spread? 3. Growth in love. One of the most beautiful things I've seen is emotional growth in a young couple. They loved each other passionately but argued constantly. Every fight ended with painful words. Until one day the wife said, "I don't want to win anymore. I want to understand you." Everything changed from that moment. Developmental psychology shows that when someone feels heard, their nervous system stabilizes. A regulated nervous system creates deeper connection. Love isn't just the heart. Love is two nervous systems learning to sync with each other. Want a better relationship? Start with one small thing. Talk less, listen more. 4. The power of patience. A couple once told me, "We're not compatible. We're too different." I asked, "Does different mean incompatible, or does it simply mean you need time to adjust?" The strongest couples aren't the ones who are the same. They're the ones patient enough to adjust. So, successful marriage is not about perfect moments to show the world. It's two people choosing each other, even on the tired days. It's knowing how to argue without destroying each other. It's peace in each other's presence, even when nothing is worth posting online. And most importantly, it's realizing that no one can be everything for you, but both of you can be teammates for life. Now let me ask you honestly, do you want a marriage that looks perfect to the world, or a marriage that feels right to you? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'll read them and we can talk. If this video helped you see marriage more clearly, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep psychological analysis. And tell me, what marriage myth should I break down next?